the energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. This program is a special one-hour preview of the series Vietnam, the 10,000-Day War.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. People speak in their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Present-day politicians and their armies of automatons have selfishly robbed us of our birthright. The evilness they stand for will go unchallenged no longer. Political pigs, your days are numbered. We are the Second American Revolution.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. 10 days ago, in my report to the nation on Vietnam,
on April 30th, 1970, President Nixon addresses the nation on the situation in Vietnam. He said that a decision has been made to attack the North Vietnamese communists in Cambodia because they are increasing their attacks on American troops in South Vietnam. The war in Vietnam has been dragging on for a long time. President Nixon is supposed to end the war immediately and bring the troops home, but he wants to end in a victory, not a defeat.
I would rather be a one-term president and do what I believe was right than to be a two-term president at the cost of seeing America become a second-rate power and to see this nation accept the first defeat in its proud 190-year history.
With this attack on North Vietnam and Cambodia, the war will drag on a few more years. Young people across America were outraged of this situation in Southeast Asia. They thought it would return to the time when President Johnson decided on a war military victory a few years back. As a result, that did not work, but young people were even more angry when President Nixon had to say about them, the young generation.
You know, you see these bums, blowing up the campuses. Listen, the boys that are on the college campuses today are the luckiest people in the world. And here they are burning up the books, I mean, storming around about this issue. I mean, you name it. Get rid of the war, there'll be another one.
Next day, after President Nixon gave his speech, there were rallies and protests held at college campuses and elsewhere across the country. There were no other huge protests after Nixon's speech, quite like the one that took place on the first 4 days of May in 1970 at Kent State University in Kent, Ohio. About midday on May 1st, around 500 students held a protest around the Victory Bell on the Commons, which was a traditional site for this kind of thing. At that rally, they buried a copy of the Constitution. In some sense, it was destroyed when U.S. troops was to invade Cambodia, when Congress never declared war. Throughout that day, word was spreading quickly that another rally was scheduled for Monday, May 4th. On that Friday night, a large group of students were protesting downtown at a place known as the Strip. It was a place with a lot of bars and businesses. During that rally, police cars were hit by beer bottles, and political businesses' windows were broken. Even a bonfire was started in the middle of the street, and traffic was blocked for an hour. The mayor of Kent, Leroy Satron, declared a state of emergency. The crowd was interrupted by tear gas and nightsticks by the Kent police. Around $5,000 was in damage and 43 windows were broken. 28 in one building.
One morning I woke up and I knew you were gone.
The morning after the riots from downtown, some of the Kent State students were kind enough to help clean up the mess. There were rumors that a suspicious activity was going to take place in the evening. A little bit past 8 o'clock that evening, about 300 students gathered on the Commons to protest. Shortly after, they marched down the hill and headed towards the ROTC building, an old wooden World War II barricade that was scheduled to be demolished. At this time, the march had 2,000 students. Shortly after, a few minutes, the building was up in flames. As the student protesters stared at the burning ROTC building from the Commons, still to this day, no one knows who set that fire.
People try to put us talking about my generation. Talking about my generation.
Sunday morning, about 1,000 Ohio National Guardsmen were surrounding the campus, making it appear like a military war zone. Early that morning, Ohio Governor James Royds held a news conference.
Probably the most vicious form of campus-oriented violence yet perpetrated by dissident groups. They make definite plans of burning, destroying, and throwing rocks at police and at the National Guard and the Highway Patrol. This is when we're going to use every part of the law enforcement agency of Ohio to drive them out of Kent. We are going to eradicate the problem. We're not going to treat the symptoms.
Later that evening, the Ohio law gave the National Guard the right to shoot if necessary.